Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're here to do an update on the Tron analysis that I had given a while back, actually a couple days ago. Kind of going back and taking a look at the start here, which is about 315 sats, moving our way up. Of course, there's very little that charting predictions can do with a coin like Tron because, well, number one, it has been manipulated quite a bit by one or two individuals that happen to own a lot of Tron. I'll just put it that way. There's millions and millions of Tron that it's in just one or two wallets that have been slowly disseminating coins to exchanges and for the purpose of selling. Keeping that in mind, of course, we have our big testnet launch that's supposed to happen at the end of the month. And, of course, with news like that, we tend to see the prices moving up. And one thing that I do want to point out is last year, whenever there would be news, things like that would really bring hype to the market, you saw things like this happen. You saw the prices go up before the announcement, and then you saw the moment that the announcement would hit, the price would plummet. Monaco was a really, really great example of that. It was unbelievable to see. And I know there was a group of people that were sitting, waiting for, at least in Eastern time, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, waiting to see what would happen. Was this going to be the one where the price would just skyrocket when the news hits? That very rarely happens. So in this case, what I'm starting to see that the price influx happens sooner and the price starts to go down sooner. Now, don't don't take that as this is done. I'm not saying that by any way, shape, or form. All I'm simply saying is if you are anticipating a rise on Tron, you're probably going to be putting yourself in a pretty good bet right now. But just keep in mind that you will want to sell before that news hits because I've seen it over and over and over that there's a lot of hype. Buy the hype, sell the news. That's one of those things that gets said. But now let's just take a look and see at some of the indicators that we've got here. I've got some fib retracement that's built out here from 315 up to about 607 is where it capped out, um, which actually surprised me that it went that high. So we saw, a rise. We saw a little bit of a consolidation triangle, and we saw that it broke that support. That support sort of went away, and kind of going based off of this point here, which is about 400 satoshis, and taking our pitch fan up to the 600. What we're actually seeing here is there's good support, upward support that we saw, and then it broke through into the next channel, and then we saw a little bit of fighting here at this level, and now we're down here at this level. So basically what I'm expecting to see in Tron right now, if we just sort of zoom in here and take a look, I'm expecting to see this price probably attempt to break through this downward trend line. You can see that it tried to break through here and it failed, and probably in the next 2 to 3 hours it's going to try and break through. Now, it might break through because you see we are inside of this channel here. And so we do have the potential where we could move up and down in this level. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just giving, some examples of where this might go. One thing that I am thinking is, we've sort of reached that point where the news is going to start to drive the price. So this could be a potential floor for the time being. So if that's the case, and we do expect to see the the news drive the price up with the testnet launch and the coin burn, all of these big things that are happening that people have been talking about for a long time. Um, Probably are going to see this break through this resistance level here, which is at about 545 satoshis. If it breaks through this line, you can see that it's tried numerous times here. That looks terrible. Let me fix that. It tried numerous times here to break through this this resistance level, and I wasn't able to. And then eventually, the bulls just basically gave up, which is what let the price go way down. Now that there's been some consolidation that has happened, we're going to probably see another attempt at this, and it's very possible that it might actually make it this time. So be really careful and keep an eye out. For me personally, for me to make another entry in Tron at this point, only because I have seen what it has been able to do. So if I take a look here, move out to a wider chart, you can see we had a huge spike, and then it basically was on this downward trend. We had a spike, downward trend, spike, downward trend. It just kept going down, 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 lower and lower and lower. And I'm on the 1 day chart here. And it looks like things are starting to move back up a little bit, but here we go. It's hard to tell because on the 1 day chart, it looks like things are starting to go down. We had a massive pump here. So, what's going to happen? Is it going to continue going down? Right now, the moving average ribbon bar looks pretty good. If I were to pull up my ribbon bar, you'd be able to see that, oh, wrong one. The ribbon bar looks really good. Everything is green, which means that the price action has gone above all of the different moving averages, which is a good sign. That is a bullish indicator. Now, what's going to happen next is really what's going to identify what's going to happen with Tron. If we are in a wave pattern, we're seeing wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and which means we should see a fifth wave happen. So if that is the direction that we're going, and we're seeing an impulse wave, starting here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then where is it going to go? I would say conservatively, my target would probably be, I'm going to say 700. That's going to be my conservative target. Where I'm getting that price from is this volume back here. We're seeing that there's going to be a sense of resistance at this point. I'm basing that off of the previous history of Tron. Um, so usually these volume targets are where we're going to see some of this resistance level. Putting Fibonacci retracement aside, this is typically what we can see based on previous volume. You can already see that we have passed by this level. We have already broken that resistance, and we have also broken, or attempted to break rather, this resistance. So we've got a little bit of work ahead of us, but these are some potential targets right here. If you're planning on purchasing right now, I would plan a target one of about 560 to 565. Right now the price is 520. It's still a decent price, but looking at that being around 564 as a target one. Target two, I wouldn't necessarily take a look at this wave three and consider that as a target, because we've already broken down this resistance a little bit by the bulls on the previous run. We're able to take care of some of that for us. So now that we are hoping, of course, I say hoping because we don't know if it's going to happen or not. We may just continue to go down, which is a very good possibility. But if we do, and we get to this level and we're able to break through it, I fully expect that we'll probably make our way up here to about 700. And what this is actually taking me to is the 1st of April. So it actually kind of falls in line. I would actually expect, and you should expect, just because this is the way crypto works, as soon as that news hits, I'd expect to drop down at least 50%. So from 315 up to 700, so that's a 400 approximately increase. So we're expecting it to drop about 200 points in price. So yeah, you're looking at about a 500 level when it does eventually correct itself. There's going to be some bounces here, but this is likely going to be what happens. Um, but you never know. This might be the one where it doesn't do that. So we're just sort of basing it off of what has happened in the past. So retracing back to wave four. And as long as wave four does not drop below wave one, then we could still call this an impulse wave. But if wave four happens to dip down below, this is still a candle on the 1 day chart. There's still some time left. It's likely not going to dip down below that. But if it does, then that invalidates our impulse wave. Um, so yeah, here's a couple ideas for you. Right now, again, the moving average ribbon bar looks pretty good. Everything is green, which is really nice. This is on the 1 day chart. If you go on shorter term charts, things are looking a little gloomier, of course, because we've had 2 days of negative candles. Um, the Stoke RSI is looking like it's potentially going through a reversal, but the one point that I mentioned earlier is the news will really invalidate some of the charting predictions that we have. And, really what that means is, take these charting tools with a grain of salt. Because just because Tron right now is overbought and it's looking like it's going to do a reversal, doesn't mean that it's going to just completely skyrocket and do another reversal because you're going to have some interest in the market with the news that's coming up. We still have a couple days, so chances are pretty good we're going to see an increase of sorts. And but you really want to take a look at these levels here, which I've got at about 563 for a target one, and a stop loss potentially at about 480. 480. That would be probably where my stop loss would be at this point. So I really hope this helped you out. Again, this is just sort of advice based on some of the thoughts and theories that I have. Of course, it's your money. Be very careful with it and be wise with the decisions that you make. Tron's gone through a pretty decent run, so I would say that your risk factor is about 75%. Your risk is about 3 out of 4 at this point because it's already gone through some pretty decent runs. And while we expect it to continue one more wave, it might not. And if it does, it might not be as impressive as I predicted here. So, all right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube junk. And otherwise, I'll see you all out in the Discord land.